December, I don't my call. This is the moment you're meant to know.
Hello, my sunflowers. How are you? I hope everything with you is copacetic. But let's just get into it. This is Atlanta.
Yes.
And this is still, to me, Freaky Girl Night Out. That's what I'm going to call it.
Still was.
I just think, to me, before we get started, I just think they're freaks. And I go out of order. So my freakiest thing is I don't understand, because these are not young girls.
No. But they party like they are.
I'm probably a little older than Phaedra.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about, her saying how she spread open her cheeks and let Brit wash all up. Come on now. That is freaky.
That is.
I mean, it just seems to me, the more and more I hear and see from the women and men, and I may be out of step. I get it. I may just be old but Phaedra, no, I'm not. So when I think about that, it's like no limits. And it's like,
nope, not at all.
It's like Satan masochism.
Oh, okay.
In the sense of doggy style. Just doing what you want to do. Just being doggish.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it one thing, but saying it out loud. I may sound like a prude.
No, because these are all women that was either married to men or have husbands.
I'm just saying, Phaedra and I in the same age group. So it's just really, so I can't let her slide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brit,
wow.
Another generation, which I'm looking at every, 20 years.
Yeah.
For a child to be born and a child to be grown.
That's true.
For a child to be able to meet its grandmother and its mother, depending on the age and circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, a generation is 20.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to agree. I don't care. This is just me, so you can follow along. So that's a generation.
That's true.
Like, you may have a niece that's 10 and you are 11.
Mm-hmm.
Same generation. She knows your music. She know it from a younger level, but she know your music as you entering into your teenage years. It's ever evolving, if that makes sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough.
So I can't see how this kind of behavior supposed to be what it's like when girls go on a trip. You're going to tell me that you're going to go in and wash oil, and Phaedra said scrub it good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that there was a razzle in that they had been drinking?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That is not what this is about.
No, but
it's about limits.
Yeah, that's what the housewives present us every year.
I thought it was freaky. But the way that they were so cavalier and they just said it like it's just, I don't care what you do, but doesn't it come to a decorum where some things you just don't share?
That is true. But also Brit is the same one,
But Brit is 30 something. How old is she? She's from a different generation. Phaedra's 53 or something. Brit is 30 excuse me,
37.
And how old is Phaedra? I'm just trying to make a point. So it's like if I'm identifying with Phaedra, oh no, don't tell me, was she younger than that, what I thought?
51.
She 51 years old, that's what I'm saying. She 50. I thought she was 53.
Yep, she skipped over 40, is in her 50s. Yep, that's a generation.
Is that not a generation?
Mhm.
So it's like we are the same generation. And I'm like, Phaedra know better. And it just seems like since she's been back on the Housewives of Atlanta,
Okay.
it's like she come back as a freak. She always been freakish.
That's true. She did.
I'm
come
talking about
back freaky.
sexually.
Yeah.
But she's so brilliant to me. You know, it's just something about her that make her charming.
Yeah. Phaedra's got the charm.
She just had the charm. And for me, it's like she's trying to come off too desperate.
Ooh.
She's been doing things that is like over the top. Like, I got to make sure my place, like she just want to be home and she's so glad she home. She just tripping over herself.
I could see that.
I don't know no way to say
doing
it.
anything and everything.
And I'm saying after you done build that rapport up with the traders and all the shows you've been on, and you show that classy charm, that Southern comfort, sexy charm, and you got us, and now here you acting like a beast.
Yeah.
You had a problem with it at first.
I did.
So it's like, who are you? Who that hoe?
Yeah, who that hoe?
Who that hoe? You had cleaned it up from us thinking about Portia. You get back on this show, and to me, my opinion, you start acting like a hoe.
Yes.
You always been hoe-ish. Even the way you dress, you've always thought that your badonkadonk was the best of your persona.
That's true.
So I get that. But who that hoe? The Phaedra I know, she was reserved, polished, classy. Yes. You even associate her back to being a lawyer. She gets her back. Even when she was on Married to Medicine, she seemed like she was above the fray.
Yes.
She seemed like she was like, I am not on this level.
She did.
And it's like,
she's a chameleon.
Is it me? Don't agree with me because you love me.
No, it's for real.
I couldn't even let her tell a story. I have to go, and I'm just, you all, please, if you don't agree, I get it. Love me anyway, because I love you. This is my opinion.
It's true. And we're avid Phaedra lovers. So
and just because I feel a little bold, I'm gonna share something.
Okay.
Baby Crone and I smoked a little bit of marijuana, just a little bit, because I was trying to get an appetite. And so this is my real feelings coming out. Right?
Yeah, but it's definitely true because we've watched and objectively watched Phaedra. I think this is like her 4th episode she's been on now. So we've gotten to see enough of Phaedra. She's gotten cool. The lady's a little too cool. Yeah, you know what? I blame Jab Jab.
Who is Jab Jab?
Jab Jab is that oil festival where they was all.
I don't blame Jab Jab. I blame Phaedra. Okay. The reason why is because Jab Jab just brought out a part in her, but they all were like that. I get it. For Jab Jab, place.
Okay.
But what happened after Jab Jab happened in her shower?
That's true. Getting that oil off.
I've always said this or mentioned it, that they all seem like they participate in
bisexuality.
Yeah, thank you, baby. Say it.
Bisexuality.
Fluidity. And I said that when I saw them at the bar.
Yes.
And it just could be me, or maybe I'm just up of another class.
You know.
So it's like, for me, it's like, enough. Let the young girls do that.
Okay, I have a question.
Cynthia's not like that.
No, Cynthia is not. But no. I have a question.
Okay.
What about if these women was, weirdly enough, showing what it's like to be a sexually liberated woman?
I can only give you my opinion.
Okay.
Because I'm out of sorts, so this is real from the heart.
Okay.
What was your question again?
What if they was showing sexually liberated women?
If they were showing sexually liberated women, and that's what it's like to be liberated, then that would be so unfair.
Okay.
That would be so unfair, because that means that's the only way I can behave to be liberated.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
If I have to be liberated by shaking my buns, do whatever I want in the private of my own home or in a decent place like Yaya or Job, fine. But to dispel this upon the air, especially when we giving you your title, like we looking at you as a lawyer.
Sure.
Some things you just, and like I said, this could just be me being old or being approved. There's just some things you don't need to share with the public.
That is honestly true.
Look at your age. Set an example. If who was the one that brought it up?
What do you mean? Who was
Britt?
Britt brought it up.
That's where I'm going. She's young, of course.
Yes, of course.
Why did she bring that up? Did she bring it up to say, y'all, let me expose
Phaedra?
Phaedra was in a position where she couldn't not, and she went and added on to it. If you look at the undertones. So, and Phaedra said, yup, and she told me to split it wide, and I split it wide, something to that effect.
Yep, she did.
Come on.
Yep, even in the confessional, she said.
And she said, and I went in there, and Britt said, I went in there, and I scrubbed it good. Come on, you all. Now, I'm not saying you all don't listen to that. And, you know, I get it. But I just see, not that I found it was just rated X.
Yeah, it definitely was.
The conversation was rated X.
It sure was.
I expect R.
But that was.
And to
X.
me, that brought me into the room of two lesbians having a freaky night.
Yes.
Getting oil off of them, all of it. The ditty, the oil, come on, all of it.
Yes.
So my mind has been tainted. So whenever people talk about oil, you go back to the diddler.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Kinky and the freaky.
Yeah. So to me, I always knew that I know that I don't know everything I'm saying is alleged. Let me put it out there. But in my heart of hearts, I know, but everything I say is allegedly.
Okay.
I always felt like Portia and Phaedra had a little thing. Because Portia's freaky too. It comes out when she drinks.
Definitely. I saw a different side of
And that's probably that relationship with Shamira and Portia. It just seems to me Shamira have a problem with change.
She does.
And Portia's like, I'm moving up. If you want to go, come on along. It ain't like that with us no more. And then Shamir is like, don't leave me. She said, okay, come on. But if you're going to come, shut the hell up. And follow along and don't care what nobody else. Don't care what these hoes say. That's what it seemed like, a relationship.
Yeah.
Because Shamir comes off freaky too. But she comes off freaky in a awkward way.
Okay. Fair enough.
Awkwardly. Like she's convicted with a faith. Like she seems like she's more convicted than the rest of them.
That's true.
I don't know if I make sense what I'm saying. She comes off convicted, like she have a conviction about the things that she do, or she's so easy to fall apart when she hear anything about her daughter.
That's true.
She's sensitive about, wow, you can have a child that go bad even through a surrogate. She's got a lot of deep spiritual undertones. And then she's married to the motherland.
Yeah.
And she's a dark woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she's darker than Portia.
Yeah.
So Portia to me is like her hero, somebody she look up to stay flamboyant, to stay out there, to stay connected, to stay in the know.
Yeah.
And because Portia have a lot of people want to hang with her because she come with fun.
She do.
She come with fun.
Mm-hmm. She bring the fun.
She brings it. She can have a party all by herself, and she doesn't do well alone.
No.
She comes off ditzy alone, Portia, but with someone, she's good.
Mm-hmm.
She could be. She's like a leader, but if you leave her alone to lead by herself, she becomes awkward. Anyway, I'm on my buzz. Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry. I don't know where this is going. We're going to run through it real fast. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess, do you want to start from the end at Jab Jab and then make our way back forward?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. So, that was basically where we ended off on.
I didn't mean to go off on Neverland, y'all. Bear with me.
Yep. So we ended off with Phaedra and Britt this episode.
But Phaedra handled it like OG.
She did. She did handle it like an OG.
And Britt was like the generation she is. She says, and I got up there and cleaned it real good. And Portia's, and what you call it said, Phaedra said, she sure did. And you notice the temperament of the table was different.
It was.
Go back and look at it again. From where it was, the temperament for a second changed.
Yeah, they did change the energy of they changed the atmosphere of that conversation.
It isn't like they were shocked that kind of behavior went on. It seemed more like a shock with Phaedra.
Fair enough.
Because Phaedra was trying to put it back on Portia about her butt.
Mm-hmm.
But Portia slammed it right back on her.
It's true.
I'm just saying, I told you, that's just me and Neverland. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you could. It just seems like to me that this was a sexual freaky night affair.
It definitely was. Because they was all getting prepared for Jab Jab.
And I think somewhere before, I know I'm probably getting that mixed up with another movie, but didn't somebody say, was it Britt who said she liked her soul told soft?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Britt did.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's always like that. It's like you have bisexual women.
Yeah.
It just seems to me, all of them are bisexual or participate in it. And I'm not saying it's wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's where Phaedra's coming in as the freak. Oh, like instead of her coming back as Phaedra, the more classy, what she gave us, she's coming back as Phaedra, the freak is here, baby. Where is Frack?
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, you know what? You're so right. Because A, that is what she walked into. And B, maybe that's just the temperament. Well, Married to Medicine is also based in Atlanta. But maybe Phaedra just knows that these types of girls is just this way. And like I said, Phaedra's a chameleon. So she'll go right into that energy with them.
This is just my own thoughts. And you don't have to agree. But it is a thought to listen to. Okay. And now it leads me to Portia because I love Portia. And now what I'm picking up from Portia is she knows freak is bad, but she's trying to evolve. I know it don't look like it. I know, boo. She's trying to evolve.
She is trying.
She's trying to evolve. That's all I can get right now.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But like I said, remember, she's a type of person that if you put her alone, she's awkward. Mm-hmm. Case in point, with her show. Yes. Alone, she's awkward, out of step, don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. But put anybody there, anyone, she changes.
That's true.
She needs a post.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe her change is probably trying not to need so much.
Yes.
And maybe that's wrong because she went the way of Simon.
Mm-hmm.
And that honestly, at the end of the day, she won nothing.
No.
A house that's too big for her. She'll sell it, get something, or she'll pay to keep it. But what a price to pay. That means you left that marriage in debt to a house.
That's true.
I could see it if it was paid for.
Mm-hmm.
This is a house that's not paid for. You didn't win anything but a debt.
Yeah.
For what?
All for that image.
To look like Shamir.
Mm-hmm.
That image. See, they see it each other. Shamir looks at her as you hip, you fly, you pretty, men love you, men adore you, you free, you could do whatever. Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I see Shamir, in my opinion. And Portia is like ever changing. Like, even though she got nothing out of this, honestly, with Simon.
Yeah.
She's still fighting with Cordell. She's still trying to win where she got nothing. It's like, I'm going to win.
Yep.
And at the end, even if you look silly with a debt and a house too big, or as Baby Crones said, or you're going to fill it with your family. Because she needs people around her. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
There are people who can be solitary. Honestly, I think I'm one of them. But I don't want to be that way for long.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, because human connection is also healthy.
Yeah, like I can go, as long as I have all my needs met. I can go and be by myself. Before I complain, a month. If I'm comfortable. I mean, I may not. It could be a couple of days. I don't know. I've never been alone like that. But I'm saying, but I feel as though I could. What about you?
Yeah, a month. I think a month is
I mean, I don't think I would lose my mind in a month.
No. But
I may be wanting to go home. Right.
Yes.
I probably feel it the night before, but like I said, if all my needs are met and I'm in my comfort and I'm in a place where I can settle in and I know that's where I'm going to be, oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Long as it have my comforts, everything I need and want, I'm good. Only thing, long as I got my cell and I can talk, we good. But nevertheless, I'm off again.
Actually, speaking of which, that's actually a good connection to Jab Jab and our ancestors, because that's what that whole entire festival was about. Which is back in history time, Jab Jab represent like a devil, and that's what they was. That's what that people in Grenada was considered, or their ancestors was considered. And in order to reclaim, speaking about being liberated, in order to liberate themselves and feel as though they're no longer chained as being devils, they changed this into a whole festival around getting oiled down and looking as dark as possible to represent that devil energy and rejuvenating and just being.
Yeah, it was a positive message.
Yes, yeah. I was. I definitely enjoyed that festival.
But let me say this before we move on. I know that I'm stagnant and I'm stuck here. Bear with me. But at the end of it, I don't know what girl trips are anymore.
That is true.
I don't know, do I want you fighting or loving? I don't know.
Because there are two extremes, and we're seeing it on every housewife show.
Either y'all fighting or you're sexing or freaking. Yes. If I was a male and my wife was on one of these shows and she went and know what going, I would be worried. It would be a problem.
Right. And then the double standard is if their husbands went out on a guy's
and
trip,
do this crap.
Yes, exactly. They would be upset.
They'd be so quick to call their husbands gay. But that's what I'm saying. It's just a double standard all the way around.
Maybe that's just for the male gaze. Who knows?
Okay, go ahead, baby. I just had to be quiet because I can go and say a lot about that. But go ahead.
One thing I definitely do want to touch on in this episode was the fact that I think we're starting to see the beginning of the demise of Britt and Kelly's relationship, because Britt definitely did feel as though she was embarrassed a lot. The fact that Kelly didn't stand up for her when Shamia was trying to shade her for the donation. And she was just like, girl, you're my friend. Just tell me what's appropriate. Why didn't you tell me?
How old is Kelly?
Let's see.
Because we know Britt is 37.
Mm-hmm.
If Kelly is in her 40s, let me see. How old is Kelly?
Kelly is... Oh, she just turned 40 this year.
Okay. So Britt look up to Kelly as a big sis.
I could see that. Mm-hmm.
But something happened. And Phaedra told the part about the makeup and all of that part.
Yes, about using her stylist. Her glam squad. Because the thing was, we did see it in the very beginning of this season where where Kelly did allow Britt to use her glam squad in one episode just so she can fit in with the rest of the girls and not feel left out. But apparently after that, behind Kelly's back, Britt was still using her glam squad, and Kelly just felt like, man, do you want everything that I have? She was like, do you want, she was just like, why are you going behind my back using my glam squad? I just gave them to you as an offering, not to, I guess, use them. I don't know.
I don't know if the way that Britt said it in a way of, I thought we were cool like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how Britt felt.
Why didn't you just tell me?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of cutting me off, paraphrasing, why didn't you just tell me?
Mm-hmm.
You know I don't know things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why you do that? You know, that's how I see Britt. Now, before I go on, before Britt, I think Britt pre-acted, and maybe she wasn't coming back, and maybe, but I have to say this. I have to. I like what she brings to the show. I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. She brings something to the show. She brings accountability. Because she's not afraid to confront.
That is true.
At any time over anything.
That is true. That is Britt. Britt does stand on business.
She stand on business. Now, when she's not being violent, so that's what got her in trouble. When she came, she learned how decorum. She learned, oh, you don't fight in these groups. That's not necessary. Because she's always battling, but it's no more of that gangster. Now that she has dropped that, she saw. She's good, and it's like, oh, we need that energy, not the gangster, because that's what she came with. That's why people didn't like her. And a lot of times when a lot of people, when they don't like you one time, they don't like you for life.
That's true.
And then you have other people like me who like you, who don't like you, now like you, and then there's some people who always liked you. You know, but me, I'm not so hard. If you win me over, you win me over. And Britt, I think you won me over. You won me over. You did, until you sued Bravo. Because then you took me back to that ugly time where you was gangster.
Yes, that was gangster of her to sue Bravo.
Right. I think that if you would have just left, we would have missed your presence, somebody, and would have advocated for you. As Justin Diego, is that his name?
Yes.
You know, binge-worthy. I think, like, I see that part.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what the producers and all of the people saw when they first met you. Yeah. They saw that Britt. That's what's needed.
She just showed us the wrong face.
You just showed us the wrong face, just like with Phaedra. Phaedra comes in like a roaring lion. The freak is back. And I'm like,
She did come in like a lion.
Phaedra, really, it's like you're out of step.
Yeah, her class diminished.
Your class diminished. You're out of step. And even though you all may not see it, Portia is really trying to change.
She is. We have talked about it throughout this season.
You still see the things that she did. Look how many times Portia would have went off on somebody and didn't.
It's true, exactly.
Look how she dealt with things. Yes, she stumbled along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But she's really trying to bring herself up to another class.
She is.
I'm just saying, y'all, somebody can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying, I'm just being honest. When I look at this show, I try to be as objective as I can be. You know, and you separate it. It is going to be a crazy dynamic when it come back, because I already hear out there that Kenya's already saying something negative about Portia. I worry about Kenya.
Oh yes, Kenya did say that that she believes that Portia is jealous of Shamia's lifestyle.
See, why get in that? So I'm worried for Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried. Why? Because it's already, I want to see you and Portia be friends. I don't want to see y'all fighting, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if it is going to be a fight, you already, from what I understand, you done threw a blow.
Yep, she did.
Because y'all haven't even filmed yet or starting to film.
No.
This show ain't even over. They haven't even done.
And it's a hot button for Shamia and Portia.
Absolutely. So for me, I don't know. I don't know. And I didn't even want Kenya to come back, honestly. Not because I don't love her.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this before. She can come back, but I hope she come back as a change. Yes. Everybody on there is changing.
That is true.
I don't want to see that get over, foul, mean, old, lovable white girl get you back, Kenya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
You know, I don't want to see it. I mean, it was good for when it was good for.
Mm-hmm.
But now just coming with something different. That's all. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely bring something different.
Bring something different.
Maybe learn something from your mistake.
Doing
what she had done to get her kicked
just
off.
don't bring that energy.
Yes.
If you don't bring that energy, you're welcome, because I really think that the housewives of Atlanta need to soften up. I don't think the freaky sex is the way to go.
It's also not a good image.
It's just not a good
period.
It's not a good image. And even though it maybe you all didn't gasp when you heard it, I did. Because if it was from Britt and Kelly, okay.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But Britt and Phaedra, it just doesn't make sense.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of which, that was a little joke that they did make, because when Britt went to go talk to Kelly when she was in her room, she knocked on the door and she was just like, "Kelly, are you dressed?" And then Kelly said, "Does it matter?" And Britt said, "No."
See, I didn't even catch that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in it.
It is.
Maybe y'all need to get some women that are married. Like Angela. You need another married couple on there.
Yep, this is single women.
This is single woman stuff. That's probably what this is. No longer housewives. This is single women of Atlanta.
Mostly going through a divorce.
You need, or something, transitional marriage or something.
Mm-hmm,
But this just can't be housewives of Atlanta. Misleading. You know,
single women of Atlanta.
And as I understand that in present time, I believe, I don't know in present time, but back in those times,
okay,
that Angela's husband is having an affair.
Yes, that's true.
But we could see it. She already knew it. That's why she bust out crying at the table.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
She know. You know, a woman know. A man know. You know. When you in love with somebody and you invested in them, you feel them. Mm-hmm. You just have to trust. You have to know yourself. No, wait a minute, this is me being delusional, but this here feeling is deep within. because it'll just come on you out of nowhere, and you know that you know that you know. It ain't often.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're cheating, or let's say they have cheated, you already know it. Don't have to keep reminding you, because once you have that feeling of, I know you cheating, it's always there. They're always a cheater in your heart, because your heart had to pump you up to make you understand that you just know the truth. You had to know it within yourself. And that came from your soul, your heart. So your heart is letting you know that's a cheater. And it's up to you to give that cheater another chance.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we pretty much covered everything in Atlanta.
I gotta say something else about this cheating.
I'm
sorry.
Okay.
What I want to say about this cheating is, even though you know, but what it also can do, if you're not careful, it can scar you, where you'll get stuck in a loop and thinking everybody's cheating.
Oh, yep, that's true.
Or thinking every man or every woman is going to do that.
Mm-hmm,
you have to be mature enough to understand this is what this is. This is what cheating feels like. And if you with someone, and let's say you feel as though they're cheating, you honestly feel, I got to put a stamp on this.
Oh.
You really feel like they're cheating. If you feel like they're cheating, leave the situation. It's no need in you going to try to find evidence.
Mm-hmm.
That's the inner you that's letting you know this person is a cheater.
That's true.
And let's say, hindsight, let's say that person wasn't a cheater.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to learn to know the difference.
Okay.
Either way, it's a lesson. Once your soul recognizes what a cheater is, it's a cheater. But I say all that to say this. With these women acting like this,
mm-hmm.
I would be mortified if I was married and on the Housewives of Atlanta, I got to worry about this foolishness. I would be embarrassed. Among my friends and my colleagues, I would be embarrassed.
It's kind of hoish.
Kinda.
Okay, it is.
For me, it's freakish. It's freaky. It's going in the bedrooms of lesbians and showing what they do. Mm-hmm. Just like a man going into the bedroom of men showing what they do, how other men would feel.
Yep, that's true.
And I just think that there is a decorum that I think is just over the top. And I think that they reached over the top with their conversation.
Yeah, it was all throughout this episode.
That was rated X, not XX.
No.
It wasn't nothing that I didn't, I never heard of Yaya. What was it called?
Jab Jab.
Jab Jab. So yes, that was new. And the oil and why they got like that in the first place. Mm-hmm. That was new. But being oiled down, well, Jitty just put that all up. See, he comes up because every time you think of oil and you think of the way that they was being, how Britt was being very descriptive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was hidden messages in that. And that's how I feel. Mm-hmm. And I think that she aimed it. I think that they had been drinking whatever. Britt is shrewd. Mm-hmm. She's shrewd. Remember, she got gangster in her. And for whatever reason, she wanted to share it because clearly Phaedra would have never said anything.
You know what it is? I think I know exactly what it is. And it goes back to our last point. We talked about Britt before in a previous episode. Mm-hmm. She just wanted to fit in. She's like, I didn't want you guys, girls, to know I could get freaky like you guys too.
And she's married.
That was her just trying to fit in. I was like, Britt, we didn't need to know what you and Phaedra needed to do. That was just her awkwardness.
If I was Phaedra, and I know that she was embarrassed, but Phaedra has turned into Chameleon, and Phaedra know the game. So Phaedra go along with it and say, if I laugh and I say, yep, you right, and she spread it wide open, if I do that, nobody can say anything because I owned it. Mm-hmm, see, on these Housewives, it's about owning it. Yeah. And that's one of the things that Britt does. She owns it. Sometimes she over-own. I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to be here, Shamira. Don't worry unless God save me. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here for you. Don't worry. We're friends for life. By God, I mean it. Remember that scene.
Yes. We've seen
And remember, and last, and remember when Angela would sit down talking to Drew and say, girl, did you see your face? She said Drew was like this. Drew was mugging.
She was.
And I truly believe that Drew was in it. And
Drew
that
was
she
in it.
believed it.
She definitely felt it.
I felt like she did. And I felt like, this is what I felt. I felt Drew really, really meant that. From being drinking.
That is true.
From being high. Yes, from the level of being high and your inhibitions, she meant every word.
That's true.
But once she sober up, she probably feel embarrassed. She'll figure, I overdid that. I overshot. But I think that we got into everything.
And I think Shamia just.
I thought this was a pretty good episode. I really did. I am sorry that I went on and on and on and on and on about it.
No,
you know,
it was a freaky episode.
It was just freaky, and it just took me where I didn't expect to go. And with whom? Britt, I now looking at it, I just wish she didn't walk out the way she did. I just think that she just needed another chance.
I mean, is it bad to say?
And it would have been nice if Kenya would have came back and they gave it another chance. I think it would have been good. But from what I understand, she knew that she was fired. I don't know if that's true. I just think she needed another chance. I really do. And the worst thing, another thing against Britt was she came on as she had money and she didn't. She had the look of money. She was a fake $1,000 bill.
She really was.
That's what, no, let me rephrase that. She was a real $1,000 bill. That's what she was. And if you know, there are no such things as $1,000 bills. Yeah, so she was a real $1,000 bill.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And her looks and the way she dressed.
And the way she flaunted about.
And the flaunting.
Yes.
But she came in and that was the hypocrisy of her. And that was her downfall. Even all the way to her being a gangster. Even to her being in a Maserati, lifting her legs and her husband telling her, put your legs in. Yes. She just, she has to find the balance in two worlds. Where does she fit? And I think that she wanted to know with Kelly. Teach me how to be in this world. I really believe that. Yes. And Kelly, and she went back to her way of taking advantage. And instead of Kelly saying, no, this is not what we do. Not here. When you in this level, you can't. If somebody let you use it, and then you give it back or you ask to borrow. But in this level, you never like them to see you broke. So you just said thank you for that moment and you just keep pretending. She could have trained her or taught her, but she did. And that's what Britt felt. You know, and I get it. I just think that she just so from the street. She only had that street mentality. I only know to tell you bees how I feel. I only know to get raunchy. I only know. And at the end of the last, she goes after the top dog or who she think is top. She went after Kenya. And now here, I really think that she went after Phaedra.
Yep, you're right.
To expose her and say she's gay. Because Britt already admits she bi.
That's true. Forgot about that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recap of
Was that a recap or what was it?
It was pretty much a recap because, like I said, it was entirely freaky. It was all of them getting freaky, ready for Jab Jab.
Not Portia. I mean, not Cynthia.
No.
And not Angela.
No.
And I like them for that show now because they show the maturity of it. You know.
And even though they show that, like you wanted, they could show that they can participate but not get too involved like the rest of the ladies.
Well, I like what Cynthia said. And she said, I gotta be careful. I got my man at home. So she let me know her man lived with her. Because you are away and he's staying in your house, then that means y'all live together. All right, Simpson. I hear you, girl.
Mhm.
Got a man at home. She's like, I got a piece at home, honey.
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, that was really all it for this episode because it was just the ladies. Oh, and then of course at the very beginning of the episode, they was flirting with the very attractive guy that appeared
Because he was bow-legged. Women and their taste.
It's true.
Yeah, a bow-legged man. You have bow-legged kids. You want a bow-legged? That's a defect.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the girls are just honestly living it up in Grenada, and I think, like Kelly said, this trip was exactly what she needed. Oh, also she also went through some of her divorce process while on this trip, and that also soured her mood a little bit. But she was able to pick it back up. But it was all about changing the vibe of the Atlanta crew. And I feel like in this episode and a previous episode before that, the ladies really did let loose, have fun, however they choose.
Let loose.
Yeah, so
Beyonce always come in my mind.
That's true. They're always up in the front line.
Front line. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But yeah, so for that, I feel like this trip did exactly what it did. Grenada brought out the fun.
It was fun.
And the happiness.
It was. And that was good. And I'd rather see the fun side than the fighting side.
Mm-hmm. Wow, those are three things: fun, freaky, and fighting. The 3 Fs. You're going to get one of them.
Fun, freaky,
and fighting.
It's just weird, but I don't want to get back into that.
Yeah.
I just voiced my opinion. That's how I felt. Everything I say is alleged, but my feelings aren't allegedly because that's my feelings and that's my interpretation, and I don't apologize. However, if we went over, we apologize. But like I said, I told you what we did. So this was a special episode.
Yes,
Atlanta. This was just a special episode. And I think because I have a good view of Phaedra and I have a good view of Portia, I have a good view of Cynthia, I have a very good view of Angela, and I have a good view of, what's her name?
Shamir.
Not Shamir. Michelle? Kelly. Her name escapes me. That's because she's odd looking to me. She's odd.
She is.
She's odd.
She really is.
She's an odd beauty to me. She's an odd beauty. But and Shamir, I feel like I really got them. But it feels like, and I think today was just me just viewing on how I see them. And the main ones was Portia.
Yeah.
And Phaedra.
Yep.
And of course Britt. But I just see them, even Shamir.
Yeah.
I just see it in
relation, the strong ones,
and return to being in relationships with one another. You just see the relationship coordination between Kelly and Britt.
Yes.
And last, just a final thought: could it be when Britt said that out loud could annoy Kelly? I'm just saying. See, that's what I'm saying. It makes you think on a level you would never had a thought.
That's true.
I wouldn't be thinking this, but because of the what are those, the undertones in their conversation, and she spread it wide, girl.
Yes.
Come on, I can't help but think. So
that's true.
Don't blame it on me. Blame it on the weak.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just how it made me think. And if it was aggressive talking, I apologize. Blame it on them, because that's how aggressive my mind is. I'm pretty sharp. And if something prick at something, I'm going to go in and look and see what it is, if I felt safe.
And we did technically watch the episode twice. So we really got to see the ladies.
Right.
In their entirety, honestly. Yeah. So they're done with Grenada. They're getting ready to head back to Atlanta. To
their real lives and their real situations.
Yes,
and I'm so glad, because that would have been a good way to end it. the season, but I'm eager to get back to hear what's going on. So what this did, this is saying, okay, all the boring stuff is done. Now all the pieces are set in motion.
Yes.
Now return as they unfold.
Oh,
That's how I feel.
Oh yes.
You know. So I'm excited for what's coming up next.
Yes.
As a freak, I'm salivating to see what they have to bring us for these last few episodes.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So I hope you enjoyed our
commentary.
For
real.
I mean, you know, we don't really go in order. Sometimes we do if it's boring and it's not much. But a lot of times we pick out subjects, we pick out situations, and we build that story, and we still tell you everything anyway. And last, I think this was last week. If it wasn't, I want to get homage. I do like, yes, we did talk about it, how the girls came together for Shamir.
Yes. I really did enjoy
And I
that.
did talk about it because we was imitating how Britt was saying, I'm your friend for a wife. So even I touched on it even then, because that was the highlight of it. But the girls did unite for her. And her feelings was valid as how can I be here having fun when I got a sick baby at home?
Yes.
That is river deep right there. Because that's the question any real mother would say. How can I be here?
Yes.
What kind of mother am I? Knowing the vulnerability of my child.
Yes.
How can I, the moment I do this, this is what happened. That's why Shamir gonna have to figure, is she gonna be with this show or not? Because if it start happening more,
that's true,
and you're not around, you are gonna start looking bad to many.
That's true.
And you have to really, Shamir, think if this is where you ought to be. And I think because of your circumstances, I think do another season, but I think that you should not be a part of the show. Has nothing to do with anybody. It's just that your family and your daughter is too vulnerable. And I feel as though you need to be there near your daughter. You was too far away.
Yeah.
And I'm just being honest. And I'm not saying this for someone to give me feedback. I'm just saying if I'm a mother, the one thing a mother don't want to feel is that feeling, I did this. It would have been different if you was with your husband and y'all took a vacation. That's not it. You're on a vacation, a girls trip. Okay? For a TV show.
Yeah.
Okay? And you have to ask yourself, which is a job. Yes. You have to ask yourself, is this the job I need? For me, and looking at you, I think not. I think your place is near family, your family, especially the fact that you want another child.
Yes.
I don't think this show is for you. Enough. You was on it once. I just feel as though you could get off of it. You could get off of it. I wouldn't do another episode because that episode of making me feel like I was away from, I don't want to feel that because I understand what she was saying.
Yeah, I get it.
And too many of this is going to make you feel really bad. And because Shamia seems like she's a mom.
Yeah,
and really like I said, she just seems like she tries so hard to fit into it, but it's not who she is. She seemed like a more godly woman to me, trying to mask or try to live in the past of her life of what she used to be. You know, trying to be what Portia, and that's why she looks like a lap dog. But a lap dog means you sit on mama's lap or daddy's lap. You are loved and nurtured because you're good. Ain't nothing wrong being a lap dog.
That's true.
But I guess she's offended because she's trying so hard. But I don't think that's her place. And that's my opinion. You all, I was closing it out, but then Shamir came because Baby Crones says Shamir. And that's my reading on Shamir. Everything I said about each of these people are intuition. Is what I feel. I don't feel as though the show is for Shamir. I really feel as though Shamir should really consider being home with her friends, with her family. That's where Shamir needs to be. in the limelight like this, I think it's tainting her a little bit.
Yeah.
Because when she laid back in the chair, when she was in they had to put a thing there because she was showing her vagina.
Yeah. Talking about how freaky jab.
Talking about I rest my case.
Yeah, exactly.
So you thought I forgot that, didn't you? That's why I said when I go right. And when she looked back on that, she's gonna feel embarrassed. She's gonna feel embarrassed about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because there are some things that when you're aiming to be a special mom, she wants to be special, different. She wants to be a woman that caters to her husband. That's special for today.
Yes.
And you can't hang around the mines and not get spotted. If she stays on this show, I believe her marriage is going to be in jeopardy.
Sure.
I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. From my intuition, I hope that she do maybe one more season, or this is her last. This is not where Shamir should be, in my opinion. Now, that's it. I read on most of them all. I didn't do Cynthia because...
Yeah, Cynthia really
I call her mama.
Well, she really, truly is a friend of the show.
Right. And I didn't do Angela.
Yeah.
Not this time. I always talk about Angela.
Yeah, but it wasn't on Angela this time.
It wasn't on Angela this time. So I just talked about the ones that it was on. Yes. So with that being said, I thank you for joining us. Please, if you enjoyed this or you got through it, for how long? I feel like I was talking for 2 hours. How long have we been talking?
Half that.
Half that?
Yeah, half that. 56 minutes.
56 minutes? Whew, because I feel like we was talking for 2 hours.
We got everything off our chest.
We got it off our chest. It's been building, and now it's all out there for the world, for you all to view and share your opinions. And like I said, if you like this stuff and you like us, please hit that like button. Please. It really, really helps us. Please. It really do. Please just hit it. Also, if you have a comment, leave it below. Please leave it below. And if you want me to read your statement that you wrote, you could and I could read it out loud or answer it if you want me to.
That's a good one.
I'm starting to get people starting to share things that I feel as though it should be spoken about and answered loud through a message.
Fair enough.
So if you have anything to say or you disagree or agree to anything I want, but what I said, but what I want most of all, I just wanted to make you think about it.
Yes.
Just open up your mind, eat the meat and spit out the bones if you find any meat.
Please do share this with anybody.
Share the video, share, and if you want to join our podcast, our station, all the above, please subscribe and join the Sunflower family. We'd love to have you.
Yes.
Okay. Now